Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a very pleasant night to you, my pack, and welcome back once more to Vega Conflict. Okay, we have a new event beginning. It is named the Ultimatum, and the primary prize is blueprints for the Aquila blueprint, which is the next frigate for the Vega Alliance, as well as the launch of augments and the campaign for the prefit. I'll quickly go over all of them right now. So 895,000 for that one, and each of the augments is going to cost you 155,000 for any of them, and naturally, however many fleets you intend on building, you're going to want the matching augments if you're going to use them. I'll go over what they are statistically during the next portion of the video, but I just wanted to get that out of the way. Naturally, I don't know the behavior of the ventricle missile. So, I can't exactly... Give me a second. Just me starting to talk completely dehydrated me. Much better. Okay, so, as I was saying, I'll talk about the stats of them later on. I haven't looked into anything involving them, so I haven't read the event briefing or anything like that, so if it has any mention of the weapons, how they behave, if they're tracking or not, granted they're not because they have spread on them, and things like that, I don't know that. What I do know is we have the blueprints and everything like that, so I'm going to go over the blueprints just like the typical ones and then send you all on your way, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. Okay, so the Aquila Pattern Frigate. 2-hour base repair time, same as everything else at this point. 260,000 hit points, which is 40,000 less than the Dragon has. 19,250 tons mass, which is 250 less than what the Heedless Battleship has at Mark 1. 3,500,000 cargo, not too bad, but in line with everything else at Tier 13 so far. And now for its little shining star. It is faster forward, rotation, and strafing than the Dragon, if I'm not mistaken. Give me a quick second to check. And yes, it is faster in all regards. It has 20 meters per second higher forward speed, 2 degrees faster rotation speed, and 20 meters per second faster strafe. So not half bad. And modifiers wise, they're almost the exact same, with the destroyer damage increase of 50% and the battleship damage increase of 50%. The only difference is the Dragon does 40% compared to the Aquila's 50%. Aside from that, they have mostly the same with the exception of the stasis resistance. The Aquila has 30%, whereas the Dragon has 20%. And then a feature only on the Dragon, it applies to missiles only and it increases the weapon speed by 10%. And resistance-wise, real quick, nothing special. It's just nebula resistance and all the resistances we've had this entire time. Again, page could be completely wiped off the face of the earth and it wouldn't mean a difference because all of the stats are baked into the game, so it's just there by default. You don't need to know any of it. You just know that you're completely immune to them. On to the level 1 weapon, the ventricle missile. So, coming in with 21,150 damage per second. Pardon. Didn't sleep all too great today, to say the least. Mass of 2,896 tons. Not too bad. Range of 2,800 to 4,800 meters, so it's got a 2,000 meter effective combat range. Anything within that you can't fire at, and anything out of that you can't fire at. 500 meters. That is a beefy high explosive round, to say the least. Fairly slow speed. It's actually comparable to, let's see, 1,400 compared to the vascular torpedo, for instance, 1,100, and the flatline missile at 1,900, so it is fairly slow. Spread of 10 degrees, not too bad, but if anyone gets right up on top of you, you won't be able to fire all too much, so kind of a drawback, and if you're not going to be hitting all too effectively at long ranges, might be a flop of a weapon, just going to have to wait and see. It does, however, feature 25% shield bypass on the level 1. And there are no special restrictions. It is tier 13 only, as with everything else. It's not restricted to the frigate or anything like that. So you can use it on anything else that you want. Now, Reticle Missile 2. 26,666 damage per second. That's a lot of sixes there, guys. And gals. Mass of 3,824 tons. Same range, same AoE, same speed, same spread, and the exact same shield bypass. So it doesn't increase between level 1 and level 2. That's weird. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the blood version really quick, because I also have access to that due to the fragments in the game. It brings a whopping 36,587 damage per second, weighing in at 6,026 tons. And then same range, same speed, same AoE, same spread, and 5% more shield bypass. So it gives you just that sweet 30%. So if you're going for a shield bypass build, definitely going to want to try and use that one. And then if you... Actually, I don't think we have a commander that gives built-in shield bypass to any weapon. Ignore that last part then. And just like the rest, it is not restricted at all. It is available to all Vega Alliance Tier 13 vessels. The one difference is you do need the Arms Lab 13 for it. And onto the augments, and I'll send you all on your way, because it's been nearly 7 minutes. Wow. Okay, Cruiser Augment right off the bat. For cruisers only, Tier 13 only, so you only can use it with the Doric Cruiser and your Vertibles. What it does is it increases all shield energy by 10%, fairly small value. It increases frigate damage by 10%, again, fairly small value, and it increases damage against cutters by 15%, fairly small value, and it weighs 5% of the total ship mass, so depending on your build, you might be able to use it, but if you're like me, you've already got your ships packed up for the most part, and you don't really have any spare space, so might pick a few of them up to do some specialist builds, but not much else. Battleship Augment. Weighing 5% ship mass, and it brings a 10% increase in armor health. Not too bad. A 30% increase in cruiser damage. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the type of stats you want to see the bonuses for. Help you take apart the NPCs just that little bit faster. Those are the ones that make it worth equipping. And shield bypass of 5%. Always welcome. So with the new blood weapon, you'd be able to get upwards of 35% shield bypass. So not half bad, because you're basically bleeding a third of your damage straight through to the ship itself underneath the shielding. Cutter Augment. Again, 5% ship mass. It increases forward speed by 10%, so 380, you're going to get a 38 meters per second increase. And 36 with the... Actually, no, this is a cutter, so they're faster. It's 450, I think, for them. I'll do a dedicated video for their special and stuff like that. Armor health increase of 20%. Getting better with the statistics there. Battleship damage increase of 30%. Alright, so they're definitely taking on the role of the battleship hunters. Destroyer Augment. Again, 5% mass. Alright, we got a 15% weapon speed increase. Alright, a strafe speed increase of 10%. And a cruiser damage increase of 50%. That's what I'm talking about. Get us more specials like that. Just slap hard for the long-range vessels. That's what I like to see. I'd take another drink there real quick. Let's take care of the frigate and the carrier augment, and I'll send you all on your way. 5% ship mass and rotation. It increases rotation by 10% for the frigate. Nice. Increases all damage they deal against ships by 5%. Actually, ship damage, it doesn't say increase or decrease, it just says 5%. So is that lowering all damage you do down to 5%? If it does, that's a little bit stupid, and I'm happy I realized that while I was staring at the screen. And we have a destroyer damage increase of 20% and a battleship damage increase of 10%. So they're becoming more dedicated destroyer hunters than anything else. That's kind of a shame. And for the carrier, you just have something that affects your squadrons. It weighs 10% of the ship's total mass. Oh, that's a rough one. That's definitely a rough one, because they can get fairly heavy to begin with. It increases the fighter's speed by 300 meters per second and increases their flight time by 15 seconds. I don't know how to feel about that one, because speed is definitely needed in getting into the targets without being hit by dumbfire weapons all too much. But that flight time, that could definitely hurt, especially if they take a bunch of damage and then they're on about 5% health, do very little damage, and they're on top of the target for, say, 30 seconds doing basically nothing. It would have been better if they had fully died and come back, then launched again. So, I don't know how to feel about that one. But that is it. That covers everything that is new. Yeah, everything that's new. With the exception of the level 3, but don't have access to the target, so can't exactly view that right now. That's going to be it, everybody, so let's get you on your way, because you've just lost like 11 minutes of your day. So, be safe out there, happy hunting, and as always, I'll see you later.